It's good that you tuned in. Here we discuss labeling only those features that fulfill certain conditions. In our example, house numbers in certain streets. And I will emphasize the importance of double-checking the results of an executed tool. My task is to label all street numbers that are in avenues 9A and 9B. Let's start with turning on my shapefile that contains parcels and addresses, so I have house numbers and street names and other things in here. And let's turn on the labels for this. So I go to my label icon and I turn on parcels with addresses. And now I go back to my drawing order, have my feature layer options, and within labeling, I have here a whole bunch of labeling options. First of all, let's look at the field. So which field is going to be labeled? Right now it's civic number, that is my house number. I also could label, for instance, street name. And now we already know where avenues 9A and 9B are. I could also go to street type, which is going to be avenue and streets and drives in this case. But let's go back to our house number, what we want. So I already mentioned we only wanted to label those ones that are in 9A and 9B, and there's an interesting SQL query that we can apply for our labels. I can go here and click on SQL and saying only a certain selection of parcels should be labeled. So I want to create a new expression. I say street name is equal to, and then here is a list of all the street names that we have in Lethbridge, equal to 9A. And then I add my second one here and I say or street name is equal to, and I could just type it in, or I can use it from the list here, equals 9B, and I apply this. And when I apply this, only those parcels that fulfill this condition are labeled. There are a couple of things that we want to check though first, and that is I'm using additional information to find out if this labeling makes sense. We can also label the street layer, of course. So here I go to labels and turn on the labels for street. And right now they're hard to read. So let's go again in our labeling options and change our font size and maybe our font color. Let's try to make it white. And now we can see here 9th Avenue South is this part here. 9B is over here, and over here we have 21st Street South. So it's important to double check a geoprocessing result and make sure that it fits other layers and the logic that you have applied. We can also check simply using the pop-up window. So the pop-up windows are always here controlled in our Explorer. Under our Explorer we have options here. Right now the pop-up window would show only the visible layers, or also we could choose the topmost layers. Both are very useful options. So now I can go here, for instance, and simply click on a parcel, and here now we can see this parcel there that was not labeled is in 21st Street. This one here is in 9A. This one here also is in 21st Street. So we can double check that the logic is correct, that no mistakes have been made either by you or that there are mistakes in the database. If you didn't have the street layer available, there is one layer here which is called the hybrid reference layer. This is available as a base map here, and this goes hand in hand with our satellite image. And this one here contains additional topographic information such as names and labels, etc. And here I turn the layer on, and we can see the same here. 9A is over here, 9B is over here. And in case we wanted to know exactly where these two change, what we can also do is we can go to our street layer, and again just using the pop-up and clicking on the pop-up, and there we know exactly 9A goes up to here and 9B goes up to there. So we just spent a minute or so checking our data, but that's always really important to gain confidence that your selection has been correct and that you are now ready to move on to the next step. I again choose my parcels. I don't need the streets anymore. If I go back to labeling, I see some interesting options here about placement of labels inside our polygons. The default is horizontal and one label per feature. I just want to show you quickly the other options. We have here horizontal remove duplicates. And if I turn this on, we see some labels are disappearing. Let me go back here and let's just show you here. There is 12133 for street 9A, and here's 12133 that is in 9B. Duplicate labels, because right now everything is on the same display, so one of these arbitrarily, randomly will disappear if I say remove duplicate. In our case, it doesn't make sense to use this option. Another interesting option is this one here that says basic polygons. And when we say basic polygons, then the placing of the labels is fitting better inside the shape of the polygons. But right now at the price that, again, duplicate polygons or duplicate labels are removed. Let me just show you, if now the 2133 here is not part of my display, then it will be displayed over here because we don't have duplicate labels within our display window. But this is really not what we want. At the end of the day, we would prefer this one here. And then there are more options. And it's always important for you, the user, to be in full control and are aware of your options. So under label placements here, we can expand this and there are more properties. And here under place the labels, always horizontal. What about always straight? That is now not removing duplicate labels. And this one would work. And then the same result, try horizontal first and then straight. So this is an option that I really like because it makes sense. It gives me the option of using larger labels. So maybe I can go from size 8 to maybe 11. So now they're easy to read, very large numbers. And we could use this label placement option. And lastly, I want to pretty up this map a little. So one thing I'd like to do is make my parcels here, make my polygons transparent. I do that under Appearance. I want to make them 50% transparent. And that's nice. But what I don't like at the moment is the outline. And here is a trick, because I would like the outline to be a little bit sharper, because the outline of the polygons is also half transparent, and I like this to be a little bit sharper. And so here's a trick. Within your drawing order, we can right-click and copy the layer back into the same map, and now we have the layer twice. It's completely duplicated. Except in this case here, we have double labels, which we don't want, of course. So I go back here and turn off one of my labels. Go back to my drawing order. This one here now has been also is still transparent. I want to make this 0. And now if I go to Symbology, right-click, Symbology, I want to make my symbol no color inside, and maybe not quite as white as we had it. And now if I add this, we have nice sharp corners. We could have gone an entirely different route to carry out this task. We could have simply used the same query to query the parcels that are in 9a and 9b, then save this file as a new file with only the selected features, and then the labeling would have been done just for those parcels, and then we could have made a map in a slightly different way. I just wanted to show you some other options that are available to you in ArcGIS Pro. That's all for now. See you next time.